This is Jack now. Yeah, I've got much better. Yeah, pretty just some traffic stuff there used to. Yeah, kind of my shows that I like focused on. Yeah.
Here. Are we tape ready?
That clock's 2 minutes fast. Always trying to get out of school quicker.
Yeah, but recess is doing
Yeah, no.
2 minutes quicker too.
Go ahead.
Good to see you.
Okay. All right. Think.
Tell your brother is a call.
Okay.
Inspections. You know, John. I know this.
Yeah, I don't. Because normally the paper was just. Yeah.
So, yeah, the file changed. It's just always. It's just really. Yeah, it'll be the second week for like the 14. I'll be around. So maybe I'm going to
I would.
California.
I'm Rex in the short Victorian Village.
Oh, God.
Tree roots out of the mall.
So.
I was walking it off, so. So I did it in June.
Sheriff, we're good. Ready? Okay, you guys all set? Okay, we're gonna call the August 10th, 2023 Development Commission meeting to order as usual with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Case number 1, Z22-012, 363 North Eureka Avenue.
In your supplemental packet, you will find the revised limitation text that has addressed all of the concerns by the Franklin County Engineer's Office that had initially led to the conditional approval recommendation.
So you're now to approve?
It's now.
Yeah.
Site consists of 2 undeveloped parcels in the R Rural District. The requested rezoning to LN2 Limited Manufacturing District will permit the site to be developed with 720 square feet of office use, 6,000 square feet of warehouse use, and a single unit dwelling. To the north is railroad right of way, the Camp Chase Trail, and single unit dwellings in Franklin Township. To the south are single unit dwellings in Parkland and the R3 residential district. To the east is the warehouse in Franklin Township. To the west is the undeveloped land in the R3 residential district. Aside from the planning boundaries of the Hilltop Land Use Plan, which recommends employment-centered land uses at this location. The plan also includes a complete adoption of Columbus Citywide Plan Policy, CTPQ Design Guidelines. Concurrent CV 22-014 has been filed and includes a variance to permit a single unit dwelling in LM2 Limited Manufacturing District. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting. The site is located within the boundaries of the Greater Hilltop Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The limitation text commits to a site plan and elevations and establishes use restrictions and supplemental development standards that address building setbacks, access, landscaping and screening, and graphic provisions. The requested LM2 limited manufacturing district will permit office and warehouse uses with a single unit dwelling at this location. Staff supports the requested LM2 district with sidewalks along North Eureka Avenue connecting to Camp Chase Trail and the preservation of existing trees along North Eureka Road frontage, all consistent with C2PQ design guidelines. Access to North Eureka Avenue is under the jurisdiction of Franklin County Engineer's Office, and all outstanding comments have been addressed. Therefore, city staff has recommendations for approval.
Okay, any questions? Dan, traffic?
I can confirm that all comments from Franklin County Engineer's Office have been resolved.
Great. Kathy,
We have the comments for recreation first.
Finding?
Comments.
You're good? Okay. Is anyone here to speak regarding case number 1 tonight? Besides Michael, with a name tag on his forehead. Okay, Michael, you've got staff approval and,
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. A lot of hard work went into the application, primarily by my client, working with his neighbors in the area commission. We were able to get staff comfortable, all the regulatory agencies as well as planning, and we respectfully request your approval.
okay, any questions? Okay, I need a motion to vote. So move. Second. Our A team is here. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, please call the roll.
Janice Keith Shanklin,
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yes.
Kate Unukwe,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, we are approved.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a brief public service announcement?
Please.
Yeah, tonight's the 40th annual meeting of my fraternal organization, the International Coalition of Republican Advocates for Zoning Yesteryear, known as iCrazy. I'm the only member of that organization, but I'm expected to have a good time tonight. So we'll be down at Lindy's.
Okay, well, are you sure that you weren't there before?
Actually, I need to thank Dave Perry for showing me how to use the credit card machine so to pay my parking. Without him, I wouldn't be here right now.
As long as they have an ATM, you can stay down there as long as you want.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Okay, case number 2,
It's not.
Z23-021, 5925 Sawmill Road.
In your supplemental packet, you will find a revised CPD text dated 8/9/23 and new site plans for a car wash and or eating and drinking establishment also dated 8/9/23. The 0.86 acre site consists of one parcel developed with an eating and drinking establishment in the CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The site is subject to the Sawmill Rd Regional Commercial Overlay. The requested CPD district will permit the site to be redeveloped with commercial uses, including limited C5 commercial uses. North, south, and east of the site are commercial developments in the CPD Commercial Development District. West of the site is a multi-unit residential development in the PDA Planned Unit Development District. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Northwest Plan, which recommends mixed-use 1 land uses at this location. The site is within the boundaries of the Northwest Civic Association, whose recommendation was not received at the time this report was written. That recommendation was given to me, and it is for disapproval. It's also in your supplemental packets. Forgot to mention that. The CPD text includes use restrictions and supplemental development standards that address building and parking setbacks, traffic access, landscaping, and includes a commitment to develop the site in accordance with submitted site plans. Additionally, the text includes code modifications to the building setback along Sawmill Road and parking lot screening. The proposed CPD Commercial Plan Development District permits the site to be redeveloped with commercial uses, including limited C5 commercial uses. The CPD text includes a commitment to 2 separate site plans, one demonstrating a drive-through eating and drinking establishment and the other a car wash facility. The Northwest Plan recommends mixed use 1 at this location, consistent with the permitted uses of this proposed CPD district. The August 9, 2023 site plans and CPD text demonstrate pedestrian connectivity, additional parking lot landscaping, and 3 street trees along Sawmill Road, satisfying previously unaddressed comments from the planning division. A partial right-of-way dedication exception was granted by the Department of Public Service to their satisfaction. With these revised materials, City Department's recommendation is for full approval.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, Dan, traffic issues.
To clarify the staff report, the right-of-way dedication exception request for the site is still in progress. That will ultimately be approved by the division administrator. Sawmill Road along the frontage of this site is along the future Linkus bus rapid transit multimodal corridor and is identified by the multimodal thoroughfare plan for right-of-way dedication of 80 feet from center line. What ends up happening on this site is that 80 feet dimension overlaps with the service road that's in front of the site and then also provides access to their neighbors to the north. We've been working with the applicant and consultation with Division of Planning regarding a partial exception to that requirement to reduce the dimension from 80 feet to 75 feet. We're almost there. Basically, the remaining issue is that there's an existing sign that would be in the area of that additional dedication. We're continuing to work with the applicant on how to handle that. It could just be carving out a rectangle around that sign that remains private, or there could be another solution. But at this point, we're supportive of approval conditioned on working out that detail.
Okay, planning.
No additional comments.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding this application? We have one speaker. Is there anything you fellows would like to add to the staff report for the speakers?
Sure. Thank you very much, Chair Fitzpatrick. Just a couple things. First and foremost, thank you all for your time this afternoon, and to Tim and to Daniel, especially over the last 24 hours, working through some of the right-of-way clarifications. And we would be totally in favor of a conditional approval if necessary, subject to satisfaction of that final right-of-way point. In terms of the land use and the site specifically, this site at just over 0.8 acres is limited in what it can be, and understanding what the Northwest Plan calls for, what Sawmill Road is and what will be in the future. We think this is a consistent land use, recognizing that the Northwest Civic Association has a different opinion. We feel like taking into account the fact that Sawmill Road is listed as in the thoroughfare plan, Columbus's multimodal thoroughfare plan, as a suburban community connector, which requires the widest right of way other than freeways in the plan. And so the fact that it's a wide right of way that's getting wider, and we're providing that at no cost with Columbus, and we're very appreciative of the collaboration to work through that. And the fact that Sawmill Road carries nearly 30,000 cars a day, we think this is a appropriate use, and frankly, a new development here, new construction would be an improvement over what's there today. And further, from a C5 perspective and use, we're really just asking for 2 additional uses over what's there. So we're not even asking for the full gamut of C5 uses. It's just working within the consistency of what the market is there. From a single use building perspective in this corridor between Cranston and 161, there are 16 single use buildings, single tenant buildings. 12 of those are drive-through or automotive in nature. And so what we're asking for, we feel like, is very consistent with existing uses and other uses in the market. So thank you for hearing us, appreciate your time. And as always, would appreciate even a conditional approval. And lastly, thanks again to Tim and to Daniel for the consistent communication and effort over the last few days.
Great. Okay, let's step aside. We'll let our speaker, we may bring you back up.
Good evening. Monica Tuttle, zoning chair for Northwest Civic Association. First off, thank you. Second of all, I'm somewhat surprised to hear of all the modifications to the plans that have not been provided to NWCA. We haven't heard any of the updated text or seen any of the updated elevations or any of the other work about the dedication of the right of way. We are certainly, well, I don't want to say, we recognize that Linkus is going to be focusing on this corridor, and we feel that with the influx of hopefully transit passengers as well as bicyclists and ideally pedestrians, that having the option for an automotive centric and really a use that is only usable for automobile user or occupants is really moving in the wrong direction. We are not, it's not the C5 designation that's a problem for us. It's the specific identified uses that they have, that the applicant has requested. A drive-through with no dining area and no walk-up window means that no one at the bus stop, which is just north of the cutoff of this diagram, can utilize this space. A car wash means that no one with a bicycle, on foot, or who is getting on and off of the transit is going to be able to utilize this. There's just no services. I recognize that applicant has mentioned that there are approximately 16 single-use parcels in this area, 12 of which are auto-centric. The fact that there is already that number of auto-centric parcels and uses in this area seems to indicate that this is not the appropriate thing for this site. This is an opportunity for us to move forward, to look at development uses that would be beneficial to this area, that would move it in line with Linkus, in line with a lot of the other different zoning initiatives that are underway in this area. And so for those reasons, Northwest Civic is opposed to the C5 uses. I'm happy to answer any questions. And thank you for listening.
Okay, any question? Yes.
The fact that they now have a pedestrian connection, is that sufficient? Is that, I mean, I understand you're just finding out about this apparently now. I concur that, you know, I had noticed that there was the bus stops right up there. It seemed odd to shut out some potential clients. There is now that I don't know under C2P2 if there is a requirement for bike racks anywhere. But yeah, so I didn't know, does that address some, just not all? Is that not, I'm curious what your
It's
input is.
still, I mean, so the indication that a pedestrian could walk across the property is better than walking through a drive-through line.
Okay.
But we haven't seen anything about stanchions or any other protections for those pedestrians. And additionally, there still is nothing on that site that is of benefit. As we know, a pedestrian can't go through a drive-through. It's unsafe.
Yeah,
So
there has to be some sort of a counter. There, I mean, just from the fact that there's parking there, why would there be parking if it's solely, well, yes.
But there's no dining area.
There's no, so it's takeout only, to go only?
That's why it's the C5 designation. There's no on-site dining option. We had even discussed the option of maybe some outdoor tables or some other opportunity so that there is some benefit. Just to the west of this parcel is a residential area.
Yeah.
It is very open there. And then also at the south of this on Sawdust is kind of a divided road that leads right into that residential area. I understand that traffic has looked at this site and it sounds as though there may have been some modifications since the most recent plan that we were presented. But we also have some concerns about access to those residential areas for those residents.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let's have the applicant come back up.
Thank you.
This seems like the perfect after COVID game plan. Similar to Tommy's Pizza and
Yes.
Lane Avenue.
And what you've seen, in addition to the site conditions that we talked about, there has been a shift in retail and service-oriented, restaurant-oriented businesses. And from a just fair question on the plans, the only thing that has changed are the right-of-way and setbacks. So the actual functional site plans that we provided, there has been no substantial change other than facilitating the right-of-way and that conversation with staff. So from what we shared with Northwest Civic, nothing has changed. The marketing piece, the reason we bought this in April of 22, we're sitting here, it's August of 23. We spent nearly a year marketing the site for uses that would fit within the existing zoning, which did permit restaurants with seats and drive-throughs and some automotive uses. And keep in mind that the use immediately to the north is in my opinion, a much more intrusive automotive use than what we're asking for here or what's permitted under the existing C4. So we would just,
So there's a Steak and Shake just north of that.
there's a Meineke immediately north that has a couple overhead doors, and that's a full service.
But then north of that.
Yes, then there's a Steak and Shake
Okay.
that has a drive-through as well on the hard corner. So we were out pushing those other uses, and the feedback we received from the market, from the industry was, this isn't what the site will bear. And when you factor in the site constraints and the dimensions of the site, right, wrong, or indifferent in today's environment, and with our portfolio and reach, we feel like we have the ability to touch most of those potential users. We feel like this was a necessary request for that minor additional flexibility to have a drive-through without internal seats. Now, on the conceptual plan for the fast food there is a patio to the north. You could have walk-up orders to the coffee or fast food restaurant without seats internally. So in that case, there would be significantly more interaction with the community. And then in terms of the link us, we are doing our part to facilitate that and providing the right of way. We do appreciate the consideration for the of record access easement that needs to be protected there. So we're asking for that 5-foot exception. And then so we feel like from a use perspective, it fits into the market, and from what the market will bear for this site, it is viable and frankly will be an upgrade from what's there today. So any other questions, we'd be happy to tackle.
You know, the point was made about parking. You have a lot more parking there than the employees will absorb. Almost no parking for the drive-through people. They're going to stay in their car all the way through. Would it be possible to, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, take Tommy's Pizza on Lane Ave, very crowded. There's nowhere to go out in the parking lot and eat. It's a drive-through for the running shoe store and the pet store.
Right.
So you can't do it. Here you could dedicate a little spot for somebody to tie up their bike and eat something if they could get to the window, get something to walk away with. Is that something you could find a place for, or that would be of interest to you?
Yes, and yes, I think to the extent that we as the property owner would have control of the tenant and saying you have to do this, that is a bit of a slippery slope, especially without a specific user identified. But as I mentioned, there is in this plan there is a patio for outside seating to the north of the building, right, of the word food. But if this turned out to be a restaurant, yes, I think it would be entirely feasible to outline an area, perhaps lose a parking space or two.
You've got them to spare, and you know, there's many times if I could get a pizza and walk outside and find it at a table at Tommy's Pizza, I would. But you can't.
Right.
I mean, you could end up with a Raising Cane's, which is the same model, no dining room.
Yeah.
But tell me this, what's the intersection to the north
Crier,
of
I
the
believe.
Steak and Shake?
North, I think that's
Is that Tuller?
tall.
Yeah, it's taller.
Across from the old Tullow Fruit Farm.
So
It's Reflections.
Sam's Club is
South.
south of you by how far? I know your building. but
Yeah, it's,
It's hard to miss.
Yeah, it's not very attractive.
You know, Sawmill is a tough pedestrian street anyway. It's almost like the internal
Oh, it's close.
traffic wants to happen back. But, you know, that Sawmill is so automotively oriented anyway.
That's what the market feedback has been. And we, trust me, we have surveyed the entire market, and And why, so we did the first year we owned it, because in our selfish interest, the rezoning process is time and effort and cost that, as a property owner, we would prefer to avoid if possible, but in this instance, the feedback has been such that we've deemed been entirely necessary.
You know, this zoning doesn't limit the property to a car wash and the fast food drive-through. It's the C4 uses permitted now under the current CPD are extensive.
Right.
And this zoning preserves the C4 uses and simply adds the two options for Casco. Now, Casco bought the property in 2002 or 2022, but this site this building's been vacant for a long
For a
time
long time.
and
Yeah.
run down and in poor condition. And the fact that Casco is before you doing zoning after doing their market research and the car wash and the drive-through are the only uses that have been interested, it tells you something about Sawmill Road.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
I guess the other question though is if you're submitting those plans under the CPD for a C5, you're committed to the plan.
For the two
For those
uses.
two
yes.
uses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but with
bike parking
no
is-
changes, with no seating, with no outdoor area. You're basically locking that plan into your
Right.
CPD and you're gonna have to come back in front of us to get CPD modified.
There is a risk to it for us, and we understand that. And typically, our preference would be to have a tenant in mind and be coming to you with a very specific site plan to that user. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, this is somewhat of a chicken and egg scenario. And which is why we're at where we are today.
The bike parking is required, by the way, including for a car wash. There's 2 spaces required for a car wash and there would be for the drive-through. I suppose we could put an optional, in a small area, we could put an option for an outside table.
Yes,
Something like that.
you know, on the introduction, on your documents, page 2 of 6. The last line in section 1 says that food and beverage service without on-site seating. If you change that to option, you retain the option to provide that as a service for people that are waiting for the bus or
Right.
taking a break on the bike. You know, if you incorporate the word option there instead of never, you at
Yeah,
least have that option.
I can do that. Chair Fitzpatrick, I was, for this ordinance, I was defining what fast food means.
Okay,
Because that, you would remember, but a long time ago, that fast food was litigated with the city of Columbus.
right,
And,
oh, yeah,
and so I'm defining that, but remember, this allows all the C4 uses, so a restaurant is permitted there.
right, so you, one pocket or the other.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we'd
we
be happy
need
to
to
make
find-
that clarification to your suggestion of optional in the event that it is a
Yeah,
C5.
you're not forced to come back here just to get one word dealt with.
Right.
All right, we do need a motion to incorporate the August 29th text.
So, wait, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. So in terms of the potential for the little table or whatever, can that be incorporated
Yes.
into this? Okay, that's what you had said that, and
It could be made an option, yeah.
if this is gonna be, I guess I'm getting a little nervous with the option, because that sounds to me like we may do it if it's a fast food, we may not. I understand that it's not gonna be you all at that time, you're gonna be selling it, but that's one of the commitments that seems to be important to Northwest. Northwest is working really hard to transition Sawmill and this area, and we can't keep doing what we're doing and get to a new place. So that's the thought here.
Which means you would remove the word without.
Yes, and not put,
Without internal seating, because the.
Right.
Yeah, so we would have, it would have, what we're asking for is a restaurant use without internal seating. I
Right.
think what you're looking for is an
Like
affirmative
Rita's.
commitment that we would have some external seating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rita's done that. That's what Rita's does.
Yeah,
Right.
then we can add language.
Yeah, if you add that clarification, then everybody's on the same page
Okay.
and we're leaning in the direction. You got a question?
Well, I was just gonna say that's the C5 component of it. So if we're requiring, it sounds like it's just external or.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, if we're having internal, then we don't need that C5.
Then it's C4.
It's the C4,
Right.
but it sounds like we're trying to have
Right.
internal dining still is something that.
It sounds like the C5 with the pedestrian access and an external seating.
Yes, for a restaurant.
I think the other concern for Northwest is kind of what you hit on. There isn't an actual tenant in mind, and so this is all sort of theoretical. I understand the chicken and an egg problem of a tenant doesn't want to make the commitment if they don't know what they're gonna be able to do. But I think it's a lot easier to make some of those concessions or decisions if we're looking at, what are we actually talking about?
Yeah, we just don't want you to have to come back and go through a 60-day period
Sure.
to get someone. Yes.
Has the Link Us team looked at this to provide a recommendation? I know that not every single person at the city is working on the Link Us corridors.
I mean, it's a good point.
We did consult with the Division of Mobility and Parking Services as part of the right of way dedication exception request to specifically weigh in on the reduction from 80 feet to 75 feet. Some of the factors in that are there's utility poles with high transmission lines along the west side of Sawmill Rd. That likely wouldn't go beyond that if you're widening for bus only lanes. Although you probably could fit a shared use path on the other side of that. So we're as part of reviewing this, we're trying to be careful to allow space for a shared use path in addition to whatever might be needed for the future bus rapid transit facility.
And has the zoning team weighed in on that in terms of what they're asking for here? And how that matches on top of the Link Us corridors and, they're focusing there first and moving out from there?
I'm not sure what zoning team you're referring to.
The zone in, the zoning, the rezoning, the update to the zoning code.
It's not part of requests going through now yet, so
Okay.
we have to
So
work
they
with
can't.
what we have.
Right.
We have to work with what we have right now. Obviously, we don't know even what districts will be proposed yet.
Right.
They do not weigh in on reason.
Okay.
Okay.
The staff is in support of this now.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, we do need a motion to incorporate the August 29th text. And I think we're going to stay away from the other language and let you take care of that.
What is it?
The outdoor seating.
The outdoor seating, indoor seating issue.
So that's not gonna be in this, or it is?
We'll commit that we'll put it in for that.
I think,
Okay, you'll change that before you go to city council.
I think, like you're saying, add it, but the commission's not gonna
Right,
wordsmith it at the moment.
right.
Yes, we will.
I have something written down.
Okay,
Okay,
I
yeah.
have basically that there would be a condition to add external seating to the drive-through use.
great.
Works.
All right, those two items are in the motion. Both? So, okay, the A team is at it. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Please call the roll.
I got a motion to vote.
Yes. This is-
Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Now the A team's good.
Because somebody's got a second.
Okay. Oh, Denise, all right, Denise is stepping. All right, all those in favor? Okay, please call the roll.
Maria Conroy,
With those additions, I'll say yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yes.
Kay Runkley,
Yes.
Janice Keys Schenkel,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes. You are approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, case number 3, Z23-026, 3200 Brice Road.
The site is developed with a vacant commercial building in the CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The requested rezoning to CPD Commercial Plan Development District will permit the site to be redeveloped with a child daycare center. The Northwest Religious Facility in Fruita Township, to the site to the south and east are single-unit dwellings in R rural and AR 12 apartment residential districts. To the west of the single-unit dwelling in the R rural district and undeveloped land in C2 commercial district. Sites within the planning boundaries of the Southeast Land Use Plan, which recommends mixed-use 1 land uses at this location. It also includes complete adoption of Columbus Citywide Planning Policy, CTP2 Design Guidelines. Sites located in the boundaries of the Greater Southeast Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The CPD text commits to a site plan and includes use restrictions and supplemental development standards that address building setbacks, traffic access and parking, landscaping and screening, lighting, outdoor display, and practical duties. The requested CPD Commercial Plan Development District will permit the site to be redeveloped as a child daycare center. Staff support the proposal as it is consistent with the CTP2 plan policies and design guidelines, but continue to encourage pedestrian connections to the existing refugee road sidewalk for greater consistency with CTP2 guidelines. However, staff does not commit support on this request. At the time the staff report was finalized, the traffic access study has been submitted and is still pending review. It may require additional commitments. Staff recommendation will change to approval upon review and approval of the traffic access study to the satisfaction of the Department of Public Service. Therefore, city staff is recommending conditional approval.
Okay. Traffic.
Traffic study is still pending review. Until we're able to get to that and reach an approved study, whatever commitments resulting from that study will be incorporated into the text.
All right. Kathy?
Recreation Parks has no additional comments.
Planning?
No additional plan comments.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 3? Nobody's here. Anything you want to add to the staff presentation that we should know?
Yes, I'm Chris Jolly with January for Architects. Appreciate the thoroughness that you provided. Basically, we're looking to expand the allowable uses. Currently, there's only one allowable use in the property, which is retail pharmacy. So looking to broaden that to additional commercial uses. Primarily, we're here today though to try to allow child daycare. They're looking to relocate from their current facility further up North Brice Road as they're leasing that space. They're looking to purchase this property and become an owner invested in the community here. And we're welcome to conditional approval pending traffic review. My understanding from the report is that it most likely would recommend a restricted left turn, no left turn in off of Brice Road. So right in, right out, left out.
Unfortunately, the reality of this is if we grant you an approval to help you move forward with this, it hinges on this traffic report. And the onus is on you to bring your blank check to the meeting with the traffic department and agree to everything we say they want you to do. And you'll do it. Otherwise, you got to come back and start over. You understand?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any other questions or comments? Yes.
I just have two clarifications. One is, am I correct in assuming it's basically revising the existing building that's there?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
the existing structure will remain and utilize that for the child daycare facility.
Okay.
The modification will basically be adding additional windows today for each classroom because there's basically very limited windows in the building today.
Okay, that makes more understanding of why the whole sea of parking. And is there, even though it's not ideal in terms of trying to access, is there discussion then on some sort of pedestrian? You just heard us go round and about on pedestrians and, we're trying with some great books for people to read with them.
Yeah, I think we could certainly make that connection. We can probably eliminate a parking spot to provide that cross pathway through, if that's desired.
I would think it actually makes more sense on Brice and because you're closer to the building, but that's just my own. But yeah, it just in terms of where there's potential there's a bus stop right at Refugee and right in Brice, if there's, daycare employees coming in, and be nice for them to have a safe option to get to work.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you could go up that corner at least.
Yeah, because that's right where the bus stop is, it's Brice and Refugee. So they could just run in.
All right, do we need to make that request, part of this application?
That'd be awesome, yeah.
Yeah, we can.
All right, let's have a motion to, have the applicant put in a, pedestrian access from the corner of Refugee and Brice to get safely across the parking lot into the building. That motion?
So moved.
John moves that.
Second.
Oh, Janice is coming back. All right. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we need a motion to vote.
Second.
Okay. Team is changing. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, please call the roll.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Ingleson,
Yes.
Kay Ungwe,
Yes.
Denise Keys Chamberlain,
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Very much. Appreciate your time.
You bet. Okay, case number 4, Z 23-039, 5121 through 5125 Warner Road.
The 5.3 acre site consists of 2 parcels, each developed with a single unit dwelling. The parcels are pending annexation into the city of Columbus, after which they will be assigned the R Rural District. Requested rezoning to AR1 Apartment Residential District will permit a multi-unit residential development allowing up to 36.2 dwelling units per acre. To the north of the site is a multi-unit residential development in the LAR1 Limited Apartment Residential District. To the south, east, and west are multi-unit residential developments in the LAR12 Limited Apartment Residential District. The site is within the planning boundaries of the Rocky Fork Blacklick Accord, which recommends commercial land uses at this location. Concurrent CB 23-064 has been filed and includes variances to reduce the required perimeter yard from 25 to 20 feet, to reduce the building line for the water meter and backflow enclosure, and to increase the maximum garage height from 15 to 20 feet. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting. The site is located within the boundaries of the Rocky Fork Black Accord Implementation Panel, whose recommendation is for approval. A traffic access study is in progress in conjunction with this proposed development. Any improvements that might be determined to be needed resulting from the study will be identified in the scope of work for the right-of-way improvements that will be required in conjunction with this development. Additionally, a sidewalk connection on the east side of the proposed access drive to Warner Road to connect Building 2 to the existing sidewalk without requiring pedestrians traveling to or from the east to cross the main access drive twice is requested. The Columbus Multimodal Thoroughfare Plan identifies Warner Road as a suburban community connector requiring 100 feet of right-of-way. The proposed AR1 Apartment Residential District will permit redevelopment of the site with a multi-unit residential development permitting up to 36.2 dwelling units per acre. The concurrent council variance includes a site plan demonstrating 82 apartment units with a density of 23.2 dwelling units per acre. The requested AR1 district is generally consistent with the Rocky Fork Blacklick Accord Plan with regards to design and is consistent with the surrounding zoning and development patterns on this portion of Warner Road. This request does not represent the addition of an incompatible use to the area. Upon resolution of the outstanding comments from the Department of Public Service, City Department's recommendation will be revised to full approval.
Okay, any questions? Traffic.
Start with the traffic study. Essentially, we have what we need from the applicant. What ended up happening was the site is borderline on whether or not a turn lane would be required. So as the division, we are collecting additional data to better refine what the results would be, to see if we'd be able to support not constructing the turn lane at this site, which would be consistent with 3 other recent developments that were larger than this one in the area. And so we're committed to do that within the timeframe of the zoning for the site, for getting the determination back to the applicant on that. In regard to the sidewalk connection, the idea there is that the northeast building on the site right now, you would have to cross the main entrance twice to go to and from the east toward the Hamilton Road commercial corridor. So what we've asked for is a sidewalk either on the east side of that main entrance, or if they can put a connection on the eastern part of the property. Since this is an unrestricted zoning district, rather than converting it to a limited district, if they want to add that to a permitted site plan for council variance, or add as a condition to their council variance, that would also resolve that comment.
Okay, we will take that up. Planning,
No additional planning comments.
any questions of the group? Is there anyone here to speak regarding case number 4? No speakers. What's your comment regarding that sidewalk question?
David Hodge, attorney for the applicant. Jared, why don't you come up here and let's make sure we thoroughly understand what the comment is before we. Can we, Daniel, would you mind pointing to the map and show what those comments are? So you're talking about a pedestrian connection from building 2 up to the north?
Sure. So right now, for building 2, if you want to go to and from the east to the commercial corridor, you have to cross here and then cross again here. So what we were asking, initially what we were asking for is a connection on here. We understand that that could potentially have impacts on their stormwater. So alternatively, we would also be supportive of the connection along the east side of the streets.
Yeah, we'll absolutely study that and work through that
Either
to the
way.
satisfaction of both planning staff and traffic management.
Okay, any comments or questions regarding that sidewalk? Okay, we do need a motion to add that commitment to provide for that secondary sidewalk, whichever works. So move. Second. All those in favor? Okay, who would like to have a motion vote? Okay, Janice, getting with it. Second? Okay, okay. All those in favor? Okay, please call the roll.
John Ingerson,
Yes.
Kate Unquay,
Yes.
Janice Keith Shanklin,
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay, case number 5. Z23-030-2677 Weyburn Road.
Okay, so in your supplemental packet, you'll find the appropriate area commission recommendation form, as well as the land use and aerial maps for this application. So the site consists of 2 undeveloped parcels in a C2 commercial district. The applicant is requesting the ARLD, Apartment Residential District, to permit a multi-unit residential development with a maximum of 17.4 units per acre. To the north of the site are single-unit dwellings in the ARLD Apartment Residential District. To the south is a single-unit dwelling in the R Rural District, 2 religious facilities in the C3 and C4 commercial districts, and a parking lot in the R1 Residential District. To the east is a religious facility in the L1 Limited Institutional District. To the west is undeveloped land in the C2 Commercial District. Concurrent CV 23-074 has been filed to reduce the building setback requirements That request will be heard by city council and will not be considered at this development commission meeting. The site is located within the boundaries of the Mid-East Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The traffic access study is under review by the Division of Traffic Management to assess what pedestrian crossing infrastructure may be required at the intersection of Weyburn Road and the access road. The Columbus Multimodal Thoroughfare Plan identifies this portion of Refugee Road as a suburban commuter corridor requiring 160 feet of right-of-way from the center line. The city department's recommendation is for conditional approval. The requested ARLD, Department Residential District, will permit a multi-unit residential development containing up to 140 apartment units. The property does not have a recommended land use. However, planning is supportive of the proposal, but requests landscaping along the site's edges and street trees along the Weyburn frontage for consistency with the C2P2 design guidelines. The Division of Traffic Management is generally supportive of the proposal upon the condition that the developer commits to implementing transportation improvements and/or pedestrian crossing infrastructure at the intersection of Refugee Road and Weyburn Road, as determined by the Division of Traffic Management upon review and approval of the traffic access study. Upon resolution of the outstanding comments from the Department of Public Service, the City Department's recommendation will be revised for full approval.
That time has not yet arrived, right?
Still conditional. Yeah, it's still conditional.
Okay.
Right.
Questions? Dan, traffic?
The traffic access study is still pending review. To clarify the staff report, the study is focusing on the intersection of Refugee Road and Weyburn Road. Assuming that we're able to support the findings of the study, the commitments that would be made would focus on pedestrian crossing of Refugee Road. Right now, the city has a project that might be done or close to done, constructing sidewalk on the south side of Refugee Road and Shady's Path on the north side of Refugee Road. Right now, there's no pedestrian facility along Weyburn Road, but with this development, along with sidewalk along Weyburn, that's our typical requirement for our rules and regulations, then that would generate an increase in pedestrian crossings of Refugee Road. And so we'll be asking the applicant is agreeing to commit to constructing the appropriate improvements that are determined upon approval of the traffic access study.
All right.
So but there is sidewalk just north of the site on Weyburn.
Yeah, I believe so. There's still some gaps further north, but there's immediate, there's existing sidewalk.
All right. Planning?
No additional comments.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding this application, application number 5, Weyburn Road? No speakers. Anything we missed?
No, sir. Again, Dominic Spencer with Devco Residential Group. Thank everyone for the opportunity. Looking forward to working with the city.
Okay, looks like you're well on your way. You understand the consequences of the traffic study. If we vote yes and there's an issue with the traffic and you don't go along with it.
Yes.
You can make another trip here.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We have to throw that out there every time. Okay, any other questions or comments?
So the sidewalk will be part of the update. Is that what Dan, you were saying?
As a result of the traffic study.
As a result of the traffic study, there will be sidewalks.
Yeah, the sidewalk is a basic requirement.
That's what I
for
meant.
constructing a building.
It's, the question is whether that's gonna impact the crossing estimate.
Right, right now, it'll be our project will leave an unmarked crossing. And so what we'll need to determine is what level of enhancements to that would be
Okay.
appropriate.
That helps. Thank you.
All right, so all we need now is a motion to vote. Okay, all right.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, please call the roll.
Ted Manukwe,
Yes.
Janice Keys Janklin.
Yes.
Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Ingerson,
Yes.
Chair Kirkpatrick.
Yes, you are approved. Okay, now we move to case number 6. Z22-031 2480 through 2484 Forest Green Court.
The site consists of an undeveloped parcel in the PUD-8 Planned Unit Development District. The applicant is requesting the ARLD Apartment Residential District to permit a multi-unit residential development with a maximum of 17.4 units per acre. To the north of the site is a park in the R2 Residential District and a multi-unit residential development in the PUD-8 Planned Unit Development District. To the south are single-unit dwelling in the ARLD Apartment Residential District. To the east, the religious facility in the L1 Limited Institutional District. To the west are single-unit dwellings in the R2F Residential District and a multi-unit residential development in the ARLD Apartment Residential District. The current CV 23-075 has been filed to reduce the perimeter yard requirements. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting. The site is located within the boundaries of the Ministerial Commission. The recommendation is for approval. The traffic access study is under review by Division of Traffic Management to assess what transportation improvements, infrastructure may be required at the intersection of Weyburn Rd and Access Road. The requested ARLD, well, the department's recommendation is for conditional approval. The requested ARLD Apartment Residential District will permit a multi-unit residential development containing up to 112 apartment units. The Division of Traffic Management can be supportive of the proposal upon the condition that the developer commits to make an in-kind contribution towards transportation improvements at the intersection of Refugee Road and Weyburn Road, if determined to be necessary by the Division of Traffic's for your approval of the traffic access study. Upon resolution of the outstanding comments from the Department of Public Service, City Department's recommendation will be revised to full approval.
Okay, any questions? Okay, Dan, traffic again.
To clarify the staff report, the traffic study referenced is actually the same traffic study that's being done for the previous application, looking at the intersection of Refugee Road and Weyburn Road. That study does include a traffic signal warrant evaluation from that intersection. Although preliminarily, those results seem to indicate that's highly unlikely that the traffic signal would be installed there. But we ended up having to keep this, commitment for now for this application until we were
Right.
this.
Timing is everything. Correct. Planning?
No additional comments.
No comment. Anybody here to speak regarding application number 6? Empty room. Okay, anything that you'd like to add to the staff's presentation? Yes.
Sorry, yeah, I had just 2 questions. So those are single family homes that back up to, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's a detention pond, correct?
That's a detention.
So is there screening? I didn't know, things screening, I'm not clear, I couldn't really tell on that.
Yes,
For what's gonna,
there will be fencing placed in the back.
there's fencing.
Yes.
There's just a whole lot of deaths associated with detention ponds.
Yes.
And children, so that's, okay, thank you. That's mainly what I was after. Yeah.
Okay, and anybody else have a comment? Okay, need a motion to vote.
Don't move.
All right, the 18 is coming through. All those in favor?
Aye.
Please call the roll.
Janice Keith Sheckman, Maria Conroy,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yeah.
Karen Oakley,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you.
And that terminates our agenda for the night. Motion to scatter. That means, let's move. Move it.
When's school start? Less than 2 weeks. And I am now teaching history/paper.
Okay.
We've combined the course and I'm like, great, but one thing I never wanted to
Keep it
do